Welcome to the History Wave podcast, episode 1, 8 of Winston Churchill's best speeches, read by Dylan Wilcox. Number 1, we lie within a few minutes, striking distance. At present we lie within a few minutes, striking distance of the French, Dutch and Belgian coasts, and within a few hours of the great aerodromes of Central Europe, who are even within cannon shot of the continent. So close as that is possible, however much we might desire it, to turn our backs upon Europe and ignore whatever may happen there. I have come to the conclusion, reluctantly, I admit, that we cannot get away. Here we are, and we must make the best of it. But do not underrate the risks, the grievous risks we have to run. Number 2, we take our stand for freedom. Just a few hours after Chamberlain returns from Munich, brandishing his now infamous scrap of paper, Churchill predicts that war has certainly not been averted, and he is right. This is only the beginning of a reckoning. This only the first sip, the first foretaste of a bitter cup, which will be proffered to us year by year, unless by a supreme recovery of moral health and martial vigour we arise again and take our stand for freedom as in the olden time. Blood, toil, tears and sweat. 13th of May 1940, House of Commons. Chamberlain has resigned and Churchill, now 65, has formed his government. The first speech in office settles the country's nerves. I would say to the House, as I said to those who have joined this government, I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears and sweat. We have before us an ordeal of the most grievous kind. We have before us many, many long months of struggle and suffering. You ask, what is our policy? I can say it is to wage war by sea, land and air, with all our might and with all the strength that God can give us, to wage war against the monstrous tyranny, never surpassed in the dark, lamentable catalogue of human crime. This is our policy. You ask, what is our aim? I can answer in one word, it is victory. Victory at all costs, victory in spite of all terror, victory however long and hard the road may be. For without victory there is no survival. Number 4, we shall never surrender. 4th of June 1940, House of Commons. After the Dunkirk evacuation, Churchill calms the nation's euphoria and stiffens its resolve. Even though large tracts of Europe and many old and famous states have fallen or may fall into the grip of the Gestapo and all the odious apparatus of Nazi rule, we shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and the oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets, we shall fight in the hills, we shall never surrender. Number 5, this was their finest hour. 18th of June 1940, House of Commons. Churchill stands tall in the face of an impending onslaught and inspires the pilots of the RAF to victory in the Battle of Britain. The Battle of France is over. I suspect that the Battle of Britain is about to begin. Upon this battle depends the survival of Christian civilization. Upon it depends our own British life and the long continuity of our institutions and our empire. The whole fury and might of the enemy must very soon be turned upon us. Hitler knows that we will have to break us in this island or lose the war. If we stand up to him, all Europe may be free and the life of the world may move forward into broad, sunlit uplands. But if we fail, then the whole world, including the United States, including all that we have known and cared for, will sink into the abyss of a new dark age, made more sinister and perhaps more protracted by the lights of the perverted science. Let us therefore brace ourselves to our duties, and so bear ourselves that, if the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say, this was the finest hour. Number 6, the few. 20th of August 1940, House of Commons. As the Battle of Britain climaxes, Churchill praises the bravery of the RAF pilots. The gratitude of every home in our island, in our empire, and indeed throughout the world, except in the abodes of the guilty, goes out to the British airmen who, undaunted by odds, unwearied in their constant challenge and mortal danger, are turning the tide of world war by their prowess and their devotion. Never in the field of human conflict was so much owned by so many to so few. Number 7, Iron Curtain has descended. 5th of March 1946, Westminster College, Fulton, Missouri. Churchill warns about the threat of the Soviet Russia. This stops America's retreat into the isolation and leads to the creation of NATO. From Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an Iron Curtain has descended across the continent. Behind that line, all capitals of the ancient states of Central and Near Eastern Europe, Warsaw, Berlin, Prague, Vienna, Budapest, Belgrade, Bucharest, and Sofia. All these famous cities and the populations around them lie in what I must call the Soviet sphere. Number 8, the nation had the Lion Heart. 30th of November 1954, presentation by both Houses of Parliament, Westminster Hall. On his 80th birthday, Churchill shows he is still a master orator. I am very glad that Mr. Attlee described my speeches in the war as expressing the will not only of the Parliament, but of the whole nation. Their will was resolute and remorseless, and it proved unconquerable. It fell to me to express it, and if I found the right words, you must remember that I have always earned my living by my pen and my tongue. It was a nation and race dwelling that around the globe had the Lion Heart. I had the luck to be called upon to give the roar. That was Winston Churchill's 8 greatest speeches. Thank you for listening to episode 1 of History Wave Podcast. Goodbye.